Hi, how's it going? My name's Alan. In this video, I just want to chat about what I managed to achieve in my mid-50s just by doing a few changes to my diet and lifestyle, and the upshot is that I lost I guess 20 kilos or about 50 pounds just by adjusting my diet and doing a little bit of gentle exercise. So there's no gyms involved, no spending hours of the day running on a treadmill, nothing like that. Just stroll with the dog, I guess. Now, to clear things up a little bit, I've got nothing to sell you, no course at the end of the video, no paid community or anything like that. I mean, that, I know, who knows, that might change in the future, but at the moment I'm just getting my message out. As you can probably tell, I'm not real keen on video or videoing myself or having my picture taken. I guess that's just a legacy of being, pretty big for a long time, and years and years of I guess food abuse, alcohol abuse takes its toll, but I managed to turn it around, and I think this is an important message to say that that I'm entirely confident that you can too. So a little bit of an upfront disclaimer: I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian. I'm just some bloke with a phone on a stick telling a story. I think it's it's quite an important message, because for any of you over 50, over 60 that have been struggling with excess weight, bit of a beer belly perhaps, or type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, the changes that I made addressed all of those things, and let me share a little bit about how I went about it. So a few years ago, I had to take a medical for a position or a job that I was looking at, and so part of that deal is I had to have a medical, and not something I'd ever done before. I'm in a ripe old age of, what was I then, 54, 55. So it turns out I had fairly well advanced type 2 diabetes. I had very high blood pressure, and I was sitting at about 123 kilos. So all of that, not real good. So really the way I went about addressing the situation was I started getting into a low-carb lifestyle. So followed along with a few of the low-carb advocates on YouTube, like Gary Fettke, and there's a whole bunch of them. The way I went about fixing things was to ditch carbs essentially, and get a little bit of exercise. So my kind of leant towards the LCHF, or the low carb high fat approach, which essentially means upping my protein and fat intake, eliminating almost all complex carbs, so bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, other starchy vegetables, and replacing it with meat, fatty meat, greens, salad stuff, and then also eliminating fruit, because there's a lot of hidden sugar in fruit, which is kind of obvious because it's mostly all sweet. It's the starchy stuff that catches you out. So bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, starchy root veg, all the stuff that doesn't taste particularly sweet, but the starch is basically reconstituted sugar, and that's what will catch you out. So why does the LCHF work so well? It probably takes somebody smarter than me to explain it properly, but essentially it's all to do with insulin levels and fat storage triggers, and the fact that the energy that you get from fatty protein will fuel your body pretty much straight away without the need to store anything, whereas sugary carbohydrates will ensure that your body's triggered to start storing. So it goes into a hey, there's lots of sugar, it must be good times, so let's pack away some of that energy into fat stores, because winter is coming. So your body's, I guess, doesn't know the difference. It just thinks it's summer, the summer fruits are out, so let's start packing away let's start packing away energy for the winter. So the major benefit of cutting out the carbs and the sugar for me is that it resolved my type 2 diabetes. So it was a condition that I had no idea I was suffering from until I had to go for that medical. And most doctors and medical professionals, bless them, will put you on to drugs to essentially control the insulin and to drop your blood sugar level, or get you to eject the sugar when you have a wee. But very, very rarely do they say, well, why don't you just stop eating the sugar? If you don't ingest it, you don't have to control it. And that, I think, was a catalyst for me to go from a blood glucose reading of 14.8 typically down to the high 4s and low 5s. So lots of evidence out there on the internet and from the low carb professionals, so the doctors that are treating people, that see similar results. So when you start controlling the sugar that you're eating and the starchy foods and carbs that you're eating, your blood sugar levels come good on their own. So will it work for you? Who knows? But it's worth a shot, right? So my doctor, I hadn't seen her for probably 3 or 4 months, and so when I turned up at the surgery for a checkup, she said, "Oh my God, what have you been doing?" So then I told her, and she says, "Well, whatever it is, just keep doing it." She hadn't seen the HbA1c reduce that quickly by that far in such a short time span. So yeah, and I put that entirely down to diet adjustment and gentle exercise. But as always, you need to don't listen to me. I'm just a bloke on YouTube with a phone on a stick. Talk to your doctor or medical professionals before you do anything serious, like big adjustments to your diet or exercise routine. Maybe get a checkup, get your bloods checked, so you can monitor it properly, because I guess what you don't measure you can't manage. So the other benefits, it only takes a quick Google search or a search on YouTube to see all the different ailments and complaints that are fixed by a low carb, and especially if you check out the carnivore advocates. So carnivores, your low carb without the veg, basically, meat, eggs, dairy, which I did for a while and had some great results. So big up to the carnivores out there. So weight loss is the first benefit, I guess. Even if you're not intending to lose a big stack of weight, you'll find that if you swap to a low carb, keto, LCHF, lion diet, there's a million different names for them out here, you will lose weight. Just as simple as that. You know, it's going to be a combination of not ingesting a ton of calories, you know, so eat less, move more, you know, is an old mantra, but yeah. So ditch the carbs, and you'll find if you want to, you'll lose, you know, lose that unwanted fat quite quickly. My type 2 diabetes, like I said, disappeared when I started doing LCHF. And there are hundreds of thousands of examples out there of people that experienced a similar result. There's other more obscure advantages, like a lot of people have reported, and especially on carnivore, they've reported, you know, year-long, like lifelong skin conditions suddenly clearing up. I've seen guys that are suffered with pretty bad mental health issues for a long time, and they also, once they went back to a more natural diet, a lot of those issues resolved. So it makes you wonder, you know, with, I don't know how many it is now, 4 or 5 kids out of 10 are now getting diagnosed with ADHD. You've got to wonder whether that's more to do with what they're shoving down their throats than anything else. So in a nutshell, how I managed to lose that 20 kilos or 50 odd pounds in, I think it was 4 months, was cutting out sugar, bread, pasta, rice, most processed foods and cereals, starchy veg, like potatoes, seed oils. That's a whole nother subject, but yeah, if you're using seed oils, vegetable oil, canola, that sort of stuff, then that's shown to produce a lot of inflammation within your body. So that's best avoided. So, you know, butter's back, baby. So cooking butter, coconut oil, I guess you can. Olive oil is also pretty good. Beef dripping or tallow is back with a vengeance. All the things we were told were killing us in the 60s and 70s and 80s is in fact doing the opposite. And I guess you can thank some rather large food corporations for that, you know, for a really good marketing campaign that demonized fat, demonized red meat. You know, is looking more and more and more likely that exactly the opposite is true. That's exactly the things we should be eating. You know, if you look at Dr. Sean Baker, for instance, he's been exclusively carnivore now for 8 years, I think. There's also a US rancher, and she's been carnivore on her ranch for, oh man, I want to say 60 years. So fit as a fiddle, the pair of them. So I think there's something in that for sure. If you're not sure what's safe and what's not, I did a couple of years ago, I started writing about this thing on my blog. It's called the carbsurvivor.com. In fact, I think it's just called carbsurvivor.com. On there I made a guide, a color-coded guide of the carb content of most major foods and drinks. So you can look on there, and it's got a traffic light system. So you know, red is definitely no-go, yellow, approach with caution, and then green for go. So all your leafy greens. Most protein is all a big fat green. That's free to download, so there's no no paywall. If you simply go to my website, there's a carb guide link at the top. Follow that, put in your details, and the machine will email it to you. So just on the subject of drink, I've pretty much given up alcohol. Well, not pretty much, I have given up alcohol. And I could, if there was an Olympic sport of Scotch drinking, I could have definitely represented Australia. And but yeah, don't miss it. I guess the major downfalls, like the beers and so forth, are quite a high carb content. Your spirits, if you are going to drink, probably the better option, because it's lower, lower volume, no carbs, and gets the job done, I guess. However, saying that, what you tend to find is if you get a few shots on board, then your judgment may slip, and then the bar snacks look pretty good. Before you know it, you're rolling into the kebab shop at 2 o'clock in the morning, filling up on on flatbread and sugary sauce. So yeah, booze, it's entirely down to you, but I would there's a lot of just unwanted calories. Not that I ever really bother about calories, but it's just something to bear in mind. So I guess the moral of the story is do what you can. If you can start just weaning yourself off the sugary treats, off the processed food, and getting a little bit of, I didn't really talk about exercise. So all I did in that 4-month period, and still do to some extent, is walk the dog. So I was picked a spot about 2 kilometers away from the house, so walked there and back with the dog in the morning, and then in the afternoon, and then I was racking up close to 10 kilometers, which was pretty simple. So if you're not that mobile, just do what you can. If it's to the end of the end of your driveway and back end of the street, around the block, whatever you can. You don't really don't need to get on a treadmill for 5 hours a day. Now there is being over 50, there is some benefit to a little bit of resistance training, so lifting weights, I guess, and not gym bro Anatoly style weights, just a little bit of resistance, so barbells, or bag of rice, although we shouldn't have that in the house, whatever, just lift things, and maybe if you're doing squats, just hold something a little bit heavy to get that resistance up, and it just helps with ongoing mobility. Walking wise, I'd aim for 30 minutes. There is a theory that walking for 3 minutes, a gentle pace, and then picking the pace up for 3 minutes, and then settling back, so it's like an intermittent speed walking, for want of a better word, and doing that three maybe 4 times a week is all it takes to maintain your fitness. So that said, that's kind of what I'm doing now. I've still got a long way to go. Looking, they say the camera adds 10 pounds. To me it looks more like 20. but it's an ongoing thing. You've just got to keep going, make it part of who you are, not just a 1 week or 1 month effort. Just really stick at it, and if you fall off the wagon, don't beat yourself up. Nobody's perfect. I'm certainly not. But just so if you have a bad night, make some bad food choices, just start again tomorrow. It's not hard. There's no reason why you should be completely down on yourself or think that you failed just because you had a piece of pizza or a piece of birthday cake at your grandkids' party. Really don't worry about it. Just in the morning you can just get back on the horse and go again. So thanks for dropping by. My name's Alan. I'm a kind of part-time farm manager / tech consultant based in near Gingin. So you can see behind me there's the Gingin water wheel in Western Australia, so about 80 k's north of Perth. Beautiful spot. I'll show you some of the sights. What a top spot. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you want to grab that carb guide, it's just probably 2 pages of A4 you can stick on your fridge. Just tells you what's good, what's not, what's borderline, that you can go for, but not in huge quantities. It's on the website carbsurvivor.com. There's a link at the top of the page on the main menu for carb guide. Just follow the prompts. Okay, thank you so much for watching. You have a great day. Cheers, bye.